Well, good morning, guys. Here's a new clutch. I think it was from Caltrick or something. There's two different size clutch plates here, as you can see. One of them's like a little half clutch. I read some stuff on the VMAX forum and stuff. It's called the Double D clutch fix. I don't know why this is has this little half clutch in here. It's supposed to have a spring and a washer inside there, or clip or something. And you take this clutch plate here and replace it with a full one. Of course, that would obviously give you a little more clutch. And here's the gasket for the case. And this whole thing was like less than 50 bucks. The Barnett clutches and things like that. I put lots of Barnetts in motorcycles, and they're good clutches, but they're not worth 2 or 3 times as much as a regular clutch. There's a lot of different ways of making clutches grab better. Sometimes you can put an extra steel plate in. These are sandwiched steel friction. But anyway, it's not an expensive clutch, but if you put everything together right, this should be plenty good. And now I got to take it apart. And over here I just have to pull this cover off here. It looks like I could take off my foot peg. I'll just leave it laid over on the center stand, so I won't lose any oil. And I'll get some oil and get those clutch plates soaking. And take this off of here, see what it looks like inside, and press on. That was easy enough. Just these 2 bolts here for the foot peg, and you pull this one out here that holds a brake light switch, and it looks like it'll all come off of there pretty good. I'll lay my bolts out so I can get them back in the same place. Well, anyway, should be fairly straightforward. We'll get this thing apart. Now I'll lay my little bolts out. Look like there's 2 different ones. Just one whack with a hammer, just come right off. Don't have my glasses on, but it looks like the gasket's alright. Looks like it might have broke off a piece right there. It didn't make any difference. I got a new one anyway. Everything kind of looks good. It's clean in there. I was kind of a little nervous that it might have some dirty oil in it, but looks fine. Now I just have to take this plate off of here. Take these bolts. One thing you don't want to do on any of these pressure plates on any kind of bike is take one bolt all the way out and then another, because it kinks it. So you just want to take them all off evenly so the clutch comes out. Once the pressure is off of it, and on a VMAX, this is a pressure plate, this big steel thing here. Honda's and Kawasaki's are a little different. It's pretty good design. Let me get that off of there and we'll see what's on the inside. Well, I pulled the spring off, and pretty much it all came out here in one piece because the oil's sticking it together. Now I need to get a little pick or something in here and finish getting the rest of my little plates and clutch disc out. I'll get back to you when we get down that far. Alright, I can see what the deal is here. got down to this last spring, don't want to come out, or the last clutch plate, and looks like there's some kind of a wire or a clip or something that's going in here. This must be the last steel disc. This wire probably holds it in, and then that last plate you can see up in there is probably that half clutch plate. So I just got to figure out a way to get that wire off. Not exactly sure how it comes off. Should have an end in it somewhere. Maybe not. Now there's an empty spot right there. So it looks like somehow right there in this area where the spring is not all the way around, I have to dig that out. I can't really see too well in there, but I'll go ahead and get that out and see what we got. Before I get into that, I'm just gonna check here. I got my little calipers here. And this one says, survey says about 128 thousandths, and the old one is 118. Yep, even without pressure, it's 122. Yeah, 122, 125. And this guy is 118. So they're about 5 thousandths thicker than the worn out clutch. There's really no way you can look at these and tell anything. Well, obviously if they're all falling apart and pieces missing, you know something's wrong. But we're only talking a few thousandths difference between a good clutch and a bad clutch. Looks like these have more small grooves in them, and these are a bigger groove. The grooves are so the oil can get in and out. So I don't know the difference in the design of these two clutches. And I did find out that this little spring guy in here, got another spring to pull a spring. I was able to get a screwdriver under it, and it looks like it has to pull up all the way around before this inside clutch plate can come out. It'll take a little doing. I'll just walk that around and I can get this out. But I wanted to just measure these real quick. I got to put these in some oil or something so they can soak while I'm waiting, and should be able to just put it right together. Alright, I was fooling around here, and it looks like this there's a little hole in the clutch thing there, and this spring, this camera's not very good, but you can see the end of it kind of presses down into the hole, and then it just goes all the way around like so. And the other end should come out a little hole. I kind of bent it up. I don't suggest you to do this if you're going to be putting it back together. But it's just a little wire. Even if you bend it up, you can put it back together. But it's come out pretty easy. The thing is, you have to pull it out. Now I can get this last clutch plate out. I use my little homemade digger here. Well, you can see it's coming out. I need to use both hands to get it out evenly. Okay, once you get the little spring off, then there's this little steel disc here. I'm trying to one-hand everything. It looks like it might have a concave and a convex side. And looks like the cave side is towards the motor. And I should just have one clutch disc left. Yep, it's coming out. Let me pull this out and bring you back to it. Alright, that was our half clutch disc. And it looks like I got another little ring in here. Just trying to think how that would work. It looks like that little internal pressure plate here, which is what this thing is, somehow is riding on the inside of that one. And putting pressure against this other ring. I don't know if that's necessary for the clutch tension or not, but this little plate ought to just somehow come out of there. Yeah, I can see it moving around. I'll just have to use both hands and dig it out. Yeah, that little plate was no fun, but what I did do is take a air nozzle and I just put it behind the plate and blew it, and of course the air pressure pushed it away, and I was able to get the little plate off. It looks like it's about half the size of a clutch disc. Anyway, so anyway, that's why the half clutch disc. This little pressure plate and the other one, and the little disc, fit on the inside of that half disc. I'm not exactly sure why they did that. Maybe for keep it from clunking when it goes into gear or something, but this pressure plate here would be putting pressure on this first disc. You can see where it's kind of worn there on the inside. That's where it's set. But anyway, another little tip here on these things. This one here has just been setting, but you want to clean your metal up really good, especially if you got any burnt spots or anything like that on it. gets a glaze of burnt oil on it, and the clutch won't stick to it. So you got to take some steel wool or very light sandpaper or something and clean these discs up real good so the metal sticks to the thing. Now this looks like it's aluminum. I don't know if it's a good idea to run a clutch disc on the edge of that or not. Seems like there should be an extra steel plate in there. I don't know. I didn't really read too much about it, but it looks like the old half clutch disc was running on that. That's that circle on the outside, so, and it's not gonna really warp or anything, so I think what I'll probably do is just go ahead and put one old original clutch plate back in it, and then stack my steels, and once I get them cleaned up, and the new disc here, and that'll do away with these two little discs here and the spring, and I'll replace this half of a clutch plate here with a whole plate, so it should give it a little more bite on the clutch. Guess we'll find out pretty soon. Alright, that's it. If you notice, there's a boss here on the clutch. It's got two little dots, and you got two holes in the plates. Make sure you line all those up. Put your pressure plate in here, and the ring that presses down on the pressure plate, and then you just tighten it all up evenly. Don't want to, I use a cross pattern, do a couple twists. The main thing is you don't want to give too much pressure on any one leg here, and you just do that until you get it all good and snug, about a quarter, half turn at a time. Well, that's it, all tightened down. And you can see when I squeeze the clutch, take the pressure off everything. So it all looks like it's working fine. I don't know how you would go about making a super clutch for this thing. I would imagine you could, somebody makes a stronger spring. If you're brave enough, I guess you could put two springs in. I would myself probably just get another turn a washer or something that would set in here and make it like 50% as thick. But we took these two little half pressure plates out. Hopefully that I'm not making a mistake here, but Guess I ought to do some research and find out exactly why they put those things in here, but I know that the clutch will work as it is, and good enough to ride it in the meantime. Well, that's it. A little slack in it. That's in the clutch. Feels the same. Maybe just a little lighter. I wasn't paying any attention to it. But just tighten up all your bolts. There's two long ones, one here on the top and one right here on this thing. I don't know what that is. Maybe some kind of a, who knows, explosion proof device. But everything looks good. Don't get too carried away with your sealer again. Just put a fine coat on it and check your brake. Make sure that your brake light and everything works and everything's all tight. You should be good to go. Probably less than an hour. Even fooling around with it and not knowing what I was doing. So, should be good to go. I didn't much like the way this clutch felt. It's kind of hard to see here, but this thing's rounded out. On this side I got you're on the edge about 370 thousandths. On the good side, .400 thousandths. So this must be the bad side. So it's egg shaped by 30 thousandths. The hinge bolt's a little worn. It's alright. This pusher that goes into the clutch master cylinder, it looks okay. And here was the main problem. You can see without even looking how bad that one is worn. Yeah, I got 335 here, and on the big side .380. So this is at least 50 thousandths out around. You can see how bad it's worn out. So what I'm going to do is make a new brass piece. This is 395. This one was what? 385. So I'm going to just machine another piece here. Man, I don't know, this might be more. I got to drill that hole exactly in the middle. And this thing here, it's got to go in and push on the back side. Well, I really couldn't do much worse than what that already is. All I can do is give it a try. So I got some brass. I'll just try to machine me another piece. Yeah, work some of this stuff out of here and set me up a piece of brass. Well, I couldn't find any brass, so I just machined down a piece of steel. I'll cut it off and drill a hole in it, and then we'll see what we can do about getting it to fit. Steel, of course, will wear out aluminum very quickly, but this this thing's kind of already oblong and worn out anyway, so this clutch lever's kind of bad, so putting another steel piece in it won't hurt anything. Doing a piece of steel harder than I thought, but I've got this piece of aluminum here, and I got my hole drilled first. Now I can cut it to where the hole's in the same place. Well, that's that. Got a spring and stuff that goes in here, but this is nice and tight. Still got a little wobble to it, but I'm sure it'll go in and hit everything properly. Yeah, might have to do a little adjusting, but it already feels much better. Yeah, my little special shoulder bolt in there. Still got some play in it, but it's a lot better than it was. And I got pretty good probably still taking a little of that out, but the clutch worked okay before, and that's an improvement. My little aluminum thing turned out pretty good in there. Looks like it's maybe made for it. It was made for it. Anyway, that improved that. But nothing really going to fix this until I bore that clutch out and put a sleeve in or something so it'll fit a little tighter. Yeah, long time for a 10-cent part, but it's good enough to ride now, I think.